which reflects the color from the sky in here. And so it looks very bright and rainy, just like it is outside, which is a nice addition. Something else that really makes this scene feel alive, besides the beautiful color mixture and realistic textures, is the motion. It's small and subtle, but it exists. If we take a look at the ivies on the wall here, for example, you can see them get affected by the wind, right? And it's not too much, which is where the main beauty of this lies, because it's a mistake that most indie developers make with their foliage in the scenes nowadays. Like, they just increase the wind sliders all the way up and the grass ends up looking like it's at a rock concert. And obviously these are 3D models, but there's also the same type of foliage, but they stick to the wall. And this makes it look more real because it's raining outside and some of this ivy might have stick to the wall because of that, or perhaps they're just on the wall for decor, right? But basically it looks better having it compared to without it, because without them it might have looked a little too empty and not so subtle with the motion on the 3D ones. So it basically feels like they're completing the circle that the 3D ivy models start. And we were talking about reflections for a moment ago outside the house, but they also exist inside the house. So if we take a look at this kitchen, for example, you can see that the screen space reflection makes the floor and other furniture in the room visible when you stare at the fridge. And same thing happens if you stare at this black metal door sideways, but less of a reflection because of its natural material. The tiles on the kitchen wallpaper also allow for reflections from this effect, but not too much, and it's more diffuse and subtle compared to the fridge, for example, but more than the door, right? And that's the focus on small detail right here, which makes all the difference in the world. One more thing that I realized is that the cabinets don't reflect too much, except for a little bit of light. And that's also because of their physical materials, and this kind of material in the real world wouldn't be affected by screen space reflections like furniture and stuff like that. And to make the scene as real as possible, they made sure that it doesn't do that here either. And this is a topic that we're going to break down a little bit further with the developers of this demo, because this is a part of the interview that I did with them where I basically asked them a question about this. And that's coming up in this video in just a moment, so stay tuned. I also realized something about the windows. So when you look through them, they don't look just plain and washed out and transparent. They actually have a very transparent texture to them, and I don't know if you can see this in the video, I hope so, but they look like the stains that our windows have in real life. And now watch people comment like, ew, Sam has stains on his windows. I know you do too, okay? Don't lie. But this basically makes it look nice, because if you take a look at it from the side, you can just barely notice the stains, which gives it a realistic vibe. One more thing I want to talk about just super quick is the realism in the fabric and cloth materials of the furniture in the scene. Like the cushions, the sofa, chairs, the bed, and all that stuff on it, they just look so good. You can see the small black spots on them. That makes all of these furnitures look so good in their own form. And now the time has finally come, guys. Probably what you've been waiting for, unless you actually skipped the whole video, because I'm gonna leave some like links in the pinned comment. But last but not least, let's also quickly go through the interview with Oniros.